An anonymous senior White House official says he or she is working to undermine President Trump. Writing yesterday in the New York Times, the person says, in part, quote, "We want the administration to succeed, but we believe our first duty is to this country, and the president continues to act in a manner that is detrimental to the health of the republic." President Trump responded during an event with police officers at the White House.
We have somebody in what I call the failing New York Times that's talking about he's part of the resistance within the Trump administration. This is what we have to deal with. And, you know, the dishonest media, because you people deal with it as well as I do. But it's really a disgrace.
The president also calls the author gutless. The op-ed piece's claims are similar to those made in a soon-to-be-released book by veteran journalist Bob Woodward. Joining me now is Bob Cusack, editor-in-chief for The Hill. Bob, welcome back.
Hey, Lauren.
The president also wrote treason. Is it?
Well, I don't think so. I mean, this is something that really infuriates the president. I mean, you're talking about the New York Times, who he loves to mock. It's anonymous. He hates anonymous sources. All presidents do. And it takes away from the story of the week, which is Brett Kavanaugh, his nominee for the Supreme Court, who is doing quite well, pretty steady, and looks like will get the votes. But we're talking about this op-ed. I mean, Washington is consumed by who wrote this op-ed.
It's being talked about in makeup rooms, in restaurants, on street corners. On the Hill's website, you have now about 20 people who have said in a letter to the president, not me.
Right.
I didn't do it. It wasn't me, not me.
Yeah.
Vice President Pence, Mike Pompeo, Dan Coates, Kirstjen Nielsen, Jim Mattis, Steve Mnuchin, Jeff Sessions, Ben Carson, and it goes on and on and on. Are you surprised by this?
I am surprised, but once it got going, we knew that there was going to be more, and it's 20 and counting. It could be 30 and 40, maybe 50 by the time we're done. But Trump likes this. He likes saying, okay, this has been denied, and then he can use that and talk to the press and say, see, this may have been even made up. We don't even know who this person is. So it does play into his narrative of fake news when you have all these people saying, no way, it wasn't me. But of course, it could have been one of those people. We don't know.
Because if they're going to say something like that in the New York Times, they are going to lie and say they didn't say it.
Exactly.
Right?
That's exactly.
All right, the First Lady is saying, you are not protecting this country. She's saying this to the author of this op-ed. You are sabotaging it with your cowardly actions. She rarely speaks out on political issues, and she doesn't use the word cowardly.
Right. Yeah, well, this is a big deal because we've seen some statements come from Melania Trump that, you know, defending LeBron James after the president went after him. So, but I think this is a sign that Trump, this really got under his skin. And so Melania to come out and say this is no good. And I think she has a good point. This is only going to make the White House more paranoid about sources, and especially anonymous sources.
The New York Times says these are really the words of a senior administration official, and they say they're proud to have published it. Are they proud because they have an ideological predilection to attack President Trump?
Well, this is the opinion side, as you know, and it's not the news side. I think that if this is a controversial decision to run this. So I think it has to be a very high person, because eventually I think we're going to find out. At some point, maybe a month, maybe a year, maybe 2 years. And if it's not a senior, really senior person, I think the New York Times is going to look bad. So I think, though, was it the right decision to do it? I think they made the right call.
You know, there is no such thing as a secret in Washington.
That's true.
We have not heard the end of this, and I guarantee you, we'll find out who this person was
Yes,
at some point in time. All right, Bob Cusack, editor-in-chief for The Hill. Thank you so much.
Thanks, Lauren.